Hey guys, I'm Dawn and welcome back to January wrap-up of 2023. This was a slow month for me. I only read 5 books. I might be sweating. Sorry. I'm not sorry. Hot flash. Getting older. I usually read about 8 books, but I like to take some time off in January because at the end of the year, y'all know how it is. You hustling, you trying to hurry up and get that Goodreads goal, even though I didn't make one. I was just trying to read as many books as I could in December, and then I just burn out. And so I don't really start reading until like mid-January. So all of that to say, I read 5 books. So let's talk about them. The first one, what is it? The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Is that her name? Yes. I gave this a 3.5. I read this because of the hype. Obviously, everybody fucking talks about this book. It's all over everybody's TikToks, and so I was like, okay. So is all of other Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. Cool. I have opinions. Okay, so I like the representation. I like the idea here. It's old Hollywood. It's something different. I've read a couple of old Hollywood type books. This is by far the best one. I do like that it is queer representation. I was not expecting that because of the word husband. I don't read synopses, so I had no idea what this book was about. I have a Goodreads friend. Her name is Tatiana, and she summed it up as best as I could possibly sum it up. This book was entertaining, but not challenging. When I read adult fiction, I expect to be challenged. I am a YA librarian, a teen librarian, and I read a lot of YA fiction because I purchase YA, and so I want to be able to recommend books to my teens, and so I do read a fair amount of YA, and I enjoy it. But when I do read an adult fiction book, I expect to be challenged. And I'm not saying that YA doesn't challenge me, because some of it does, some of it does not, but some of it does. And anytime I read an adult book, like I said, for the 3rd time, I expect to be challenged. And this was not challenging as far as any of the characters, specifically Evelyn and Cecilia. And I think her name was Monique. I don't know. Let's just call her Monique. I've already forgotten. The woman who was doing the interview. Monique in particular was quite flat. Cecilia and Evelyn's relationship was not the healthiest. Not that it has to be, but I felt like it was never really addressed. Like, Cecilia was very possessive, like jealous, and she did not like that Evelyn was bi. And I feel like that in itself is a whole topic that could be explored that really wasn't. Their relationship was toxic. Evelyn was a very selfish person. And I just felt like none of that was explored at all. It was just, I'm selfish, let's go to the movies. That's not enough for me. I have put 2 of her other books on hold. Well, I put one of her books on hold at a bookstore. If it was at a library, whatever. But I put it on hold at a bookstore, meaning I had the book owner buy the book and have it ready for me to pick up. And I also bought Terry Soto, I don't know. But I don't like her writing style. And I'm worried that I have spent my money on her books. I don't like her writing style, only for me to unhaul, which I will probably unhaul this. Like, this is a fucking brand new book. Like, I literally don't want it. I'll probably just sell it back to thrift books or half price books or whoever books. Unimpressed. Next, As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This is the 3rd book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. I really enjoyed the first 2. It made my top 10 of 2022. And so I was like, woohoo, let's get to going in this book. I'm going to give this book a 3.5. This is my least favorite of the trilogy. I have some thoughts. I'm going to try and be as no spoilery as possible. I did not like what the author was saying to teens in this book. Ultimately, this is a teen book, regardless of who's reading it. This book is written for teens. I don't think I really like the message that this book is giving to teens. I'm gonna put it down for a second. I'll tell you why. Was it like enjoyable for me as an adult? Yes. But for teens reading this, I just think it just sends the wrong message. Now, I need to go into some spoilers because I have some thoughts I really need to say. And so, while I am holding up the book, I am spoiling. When I put the book down, you can come back if you don't want to hear what I have to say. Okay, so this book the series is called Good Girl's Guide to Murder. At least I think it is, yes. And she is literally giving us a guide to murder people. What in the hell is that? This is a playbook of how to murder people and get away with it. I know it's fiction, but books are influential to teens. And I'm not like really, really serious, like, oh my God, this is indoctrinating our teens to be murderers. No, it's not that serious. However, she basically kills someone, even if it is kind of self-defense, covered it up, and framed someone else. And no repercussions. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like it. That's how I feel about it. I don't like that. I don't like that. If this was an adult book, I would be like, hell yeah, homegirl, you do it. But this is a teen book. And that's not the only issue. Okay, so old homegirl Pip in the book, she is suffering from some serious PTSD. She is popping Xannies every other night. She's paranoid. She got all kind of mental health issues that she is just not addressing. Nor do we expect her to at 16 or 17 or 18 or whatever the whole she is. She's a senior in high school. It's her summer of her senior year. She's about to be done. I don't expect her to be like, hey moms, I need to go to the therapist. I'm popping Xannies. Like, I don't expect her to do that. However, at the end of the book, she has, on top of all those things, killed a man and framed someone as the killer. And now she's just off to college. That's not a thing. Oh, sorry. That's not a thing. That is not a thing. I'm pretty sure by the end of the book, she not only did all of that, but she broke up with her boyfriend and has basically cut off all ties with her parents so as to not get them involved in her shenanigans. So now she has cut herself off from everyone she loves. Therapist? Are we seeing the campus therapist? No. But killing someone is just supposed to stop her PTSD. And someone told her, hey girl, stop popping them Xannies. And she's like, okay. And that's solved. I'm sorry. I can't get behind that. And I gave it a 3.5. I know that's a pretty high rating. But yeah, that I don't like the message that this book is sending. This book was also way too long. Like, I mean, we were privy to every fucking detail going on in her brain. I don't need to be. I don't. And it was a lot of details that she could have left out and put somewhere else, like talking to a therapist. Can we get a whole chapter of that? How about that? I still will recommend this series to my teens. Hopefully they don't get to the 3rd book. Next, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I gave this a 4.25. I think. Yes, I'm pretty sure I gave it a 4.25. I did not know what to expect in this book. Like I said, I do not read synopses. All I know is I kept seeing this book all over TikToks, and it won the Goodreads Choice Awards, which should have been a red flag because the Goodreads Choice Awards is usually shit. But I was like, it's Gabrielle Zevin. She used to write YA. I have read her YA stuff, and it was okay. Like, she's a good writer. I did not know this was about gaming, like creating PC games and everything. But I could tell by the first chapter that this was going to be good because I like her writing style. It's like, okay, I am enjoying this. I knew that from the first chapter, which is a great indicator for me. So if you do not know what this is about, it's about Sadie and Sam and their friendship that has evolved like 15 to 20 years, starting off when they were like 11 years old, all the way to they're in their mid-30s. And their friendship and how they kind of fell off and became friends again and fell off and became co-workers, and they decided to build some PC type games together and build this company. And it's really just about their friendship and also time in relation to life. So the quote, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, is from a famous play. I won't say what it is because that's up to you. And I am so pissed that I did not realize what play this is from, because it's my favorite one of this person. Like, and actually we had to memorize this whole line. They have it in the book, the little stanza, whatever it's called. You guys know what I'm trying to say. In the book, and we had to memorize that in high school. And I freaking love that play. It's one of my favorite ones, and I totally did not get the reference. So anyway, pay attention to the title. But the title is also significant because it is talking about life, and if you change things about your life, will there be a different outcome? Because in gaming, you have infinite lives. And once your character dies, you can change what that character did previously to prolong your life. But can you really do that in your real life? And then we have the quote here, which all that's great. I like a thematic book. This book had a little too many themes, and I feel like that Gabrielle needed to tighten it up just a little bit. I felt like this book could have been, I think it's 400 pages. It could have been 50 pages shorter, and the font is tiny. Ooh, from someone who is used to YA with big ass font, and you come to this little ass font with single spacing, I was like, oh baby, this is gonna be tough. Tough as in thick. But it's a very thematic. Like I said, the themes are very well done. Just as someone who is not a gamer, I am not a gamer. I think the last game that I really played and played hard was The Sims back in 2008. Like, I'm not a gamer, but I really enjoyed the way they talked about games and just how it fit into them and their friendship and their life. I thought it was all done really well. There were different chapters in here that featured games and different POVs and everything, and I just thought it was beautifully written. I just wish she had have tightened up some of the topics here. I can't remember, like, man, let me tell you, man, once I put a book down, half that information is gone. I can't remember specifically which chapters where I was like, okay, we need to less of this. I did like Sam and Sadie as characters because Sam, as disabled, he has a bad foot, and he also is dealing with chronic pain. And Sadie is got some self-esteem problems. She's also a girl or a woman in the gaming world where it's dominated by men, and she's dealing with that too. Sadie has some, I really want to talk about Sadie and Dove. And I don't feel like she dealt with her problems well. It's like she understood why she allowed a man to treat her like shit, but I don't feel like she addressed it well enough for her to be like, okay, I'm never gonna let this happen again. Maybe she did, because she didn't let it happen again. No, that's not true. She did not deal with loss well. And I mean loss of a boyfriend. She did not deal with that well at all. She would recluse to the point where people were worried about her unaliving herself. Like, and she still did it at the end of the book. And I'm like, I feel like this needs to be addressed, and it wasn't. Sam, on the other hand, was this guy. He had opinions about his friends, and he said them, and they were harsh, but you could tell it was just like a low self-worth. Like, he was projecting his own insecurities on Marks, which was his roommate. Sam is half Korean, half Jewish, but he's small. He's short in stature, he's very thin, he looks young, whereas his roommate Marks is half Korean and half Japanese, and he's tall and muscular and charismatic and just friendly, and everybody loves him, whereas Sam is awkward and he's not good with women, and he was just projecting his insecurities on poor Marks. And I was just like, and Marks was just taking it. I was just like, oh my god. So yeah, Sam was a very interesting character, so was Sadie. So new voices here. I love it when I get a book that has new voices and just a different plot in general. I don't read a lot of books about gaming. I don't read any books about gaming. This is the first one. But I highly recommend. It is very plot driven. It is adult, very plot driven. I highly recommend this book. Next, Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I gave this a 4.5. Did not like it as much as Ninth House, and so I rated it a little bit lower. My friend Ashley and I have a whole podcast where we go through this book all the way, all the themes, all the symbols, all the things. So if you want to listen to our podcast, we do put it here on YouTube. You can go check that out. But overall, what I really liked the most about Ninth House was Alex and her growth, where she started and where she ended up at the end of the book. And this book was not so much about Alex's growth because we kind of know who she is now. It did do something with her character. Like, we were introduced into her shame and guilt about what happened in book one. Try not to spoil anything. So that was good. The reason why I liked book one better than book two was just because Alex as a character was great. Also, Darlington was great, and Darlington is not in this book as much. I do like what Bardugo was doing with her, with demons and literal demons. Like, so they have to go to the underworld or hell, and they have to face literal demons. But they also have to face metaphorical demons, as in the stuff that you say to yourself that brings you down. You are a horrible person. You are a piece of shit. You don't deserve this life. All of this stuff is their literal demons and how it can affect their mental health. And so I really liked what Bardugo was doing there. She has her own take on the underworld, and also there are vampires. She has introduced vampires, but it is not your traditional vampire, which I thought was really great. And no, they don't sparkle like glitter, thank God. There are some really great themes about friendship and really like protecting your friends and being there for them. In the first book, Alex was pretty much a loner. She did not really want to be friends with Mercy and Lauren and all of them. Those are her roommates. And now she has let people in. She's really let Pammy in, and Tucker. That's not his name. What's his name? The cop. You know what I'm trying to say. Turner. She's let Turner in, and even Darlington. She's starting to let him into her orbit. And there's a couple of other people that she lets in more. But she also feels guilty because once she lets these people in, they are going to be privy to all of her bad aura. She's always surrounded with the death and abuse, and I think she was keeping people away because she didn't want them in her world because they would be affected by it. But in this one, she slowly lets people in, but she's like, hey, by the way, this is my life. You've been warned. Next, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Philyaw. Did I say that right? Yes. This is a collection of short stories about young Black women who, not all of them are churchgoers. Some of them are religious. Some of them have religious parents, and it is affecting their life. And I believe there's a couple in here that have nothing to do with church at all, at least not that I noticed. I gave this book a 5. I fucking love this book. This is the first 5 that I have given since March 2020. Oh my God, hallelujah. I really enjoyed this book. One thing that troubles me about compilations and short stories is that they're not all going to be winners. And for me, my experience of reading compilation books, short story books, is that I only like about 1/3 of them. Whereas in this book, I liked all of them. I liked all of them. Some of them were dealing with women who were born in like the 70s or the 80s, and their parents are boomers. And these women, you know, they want to have a career and they don't want children, and maybe they're in love with other women, and their moms are like, you need to dress a certain way, you need a man, and they're like, no, I don't. So there was a lot of those types of stories. If you read this book, my favorite story is How to Love a Physicist, and I believe it's Peaches. And it's about, Peaches is really good. It's about a young girl whose mom is dating their pastor. And the young girl, she's so young that she just thinks that the pastor is God. And so she grows up watching her mother make this peach cobbler that she is not allowed to eat because it is for the pastor. He's married, by the way, and has kids. She grows up and she is now, her mom forces her to go and tutor the pastor's son just so that she can get the tea of what's going on with his wife and all this stuff. Oh my God. That story was just fucked up. But not in an overt way. It was very subtly fucked up. You know what I mean? Just her mom was just, but you kind of feel sorry for her because you don't know how her mom was raised. You don't know what happened when she was young. Was she abused? Did her mother treat her like that? You know, you have some sympathy for her mom, but oh my God. And the other one was, my other favorite one was How to Make Love to a Physicist. It's about a professional Black woman where she is in a profession where there's not a lot of people of color. So when she finds another person of color, she's like, hey, and she sees a man at a conference, a Black man, but she has had some bad relationships in the past. She's got low self-esteem. She doesn't know how to deal with a really good man. And he's very patient with her, and she talks to a therapist, and she's just like, how do you love a physicist? Do you blah, 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 blah. And I kind of saw myself in her. She's like in her early 40s. She's in a profession where a lot of people don't look like her. I'm a librarian. She's not married. She doesn't have any children. You know, she's got some bad relationships. Like, it was just a really good story. I like the way it was told. Like, just like I said, all the stories were really good. It's a very short book. It's really small. It's just a great book. Highly recommend. All right, those are all the books I read for January. Did you read any of these books? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, I will catch you in the next wrap up. Bye-bye.